I'm standing in the neighborhood of Principe in Lisbon. Let's take a look at what this neighborhood has to offer. It's not very big, but is known to be fashionable and very popular with expats. So why is it so cool, and is it too pricey? Hey expats and travelers, I'm Kalie with Expats Everywhere. Let's take a look. We are here in Lisbon to break down some of the top expat neighborhoods you should consider living in if you're interested in moving to Lisbon. Make sure you watch our whole series, but this video is about Principe. So let's show you what this neighborhood is all about. Also, stay to the end to see mine and Josh's ratings and if we would live here.
We researched and asked other content creators in Lisbon of what they think the top neighborhoods for expats to live in is. So this one was on everyone's list. Of course the neighborhood must be fancy. The name Principe translated into English is Royal Prince. With a variety of restaurants, shops, bars, art galleries, and more, there's no shortage of things to do.
That's all great if you're visiting, but what about living here? If you're looking for a good buzz all the time, this could be the place for you. Just keep in mind that could mean noise. We'll talk about a few great places to eat and drink in a little bit, but where is this located in Lisbon?
Principe is quite central in Lisbon and not too far from the water. About 20 to 30 minutes walk, depending on how fast you go, but remember that this area is hilly and you'll come across narrow and uneven sidewalks.
If you don't want to walk, you do have the option of buses, the tram, or the metro. Hato is really the only metro stop in this neighborhood because of how the lines are drawn. You could clump Avenida in as well because of where it's situated on Avenida de Liberdade, because of some of the neighborhood encompassing that part of the avenue as well. This avenue is beautifully shaded and good for a nice stroll in the middle in the central area.
You can stop for a coffee under the trees, do a staycation at one of the many upscale hotels here, or pick up something luxurious.
But not everything is go, go, go here. For being a very central neighborhood, there are actually green spaces to relax in. The biggest and most notable is the Botanical Gardens, which covers 10 acres right in the heart of the city and has about 10,000 plants.
While you do have to buy a ticket for the Botanic Gardens, you don't necessarily have to pay to see some amazing vegetation. In the Principe Garden, you can find a cypress tree that is 150 years old, spreads 20 meters wide at the top, and somehow has managed to survive the different fires that have occurred in this district. This is a great place to get some shade, and you'll hear a mix of languages. But this part of the district sees a lot of foot traffic.
Now, funny enough, if you search online, you'll see that despite its name, the Principe Garden actually appears to be just outside the lines of the neighborhood. This just shows how blurred these district lines are. So here you can let your kids play, walk your dog, read on a park bench, visit the little stalls when they're up, or grab a drink at the bars there. Whatever you choose, this is a good park to go to.
Praça da Alegria is a small place with a playground and a cafe, and you can't beat the views at São Pedro de Alcântara Gardens. So lots of green spaces in this neighborhood, despite it being known for its fashion and high-end establishments.
Let's show you a little bit of the architecture. There is a variety here from new and modern to Moorish influenced. Embaixada is an example of a Moorish building that has kept its history on the outside but has been turned into a shopping mall on the inside. There are also 19th century mansions sprinkled throughout this district.
For housing, this can mean that you'll have a lot of older buildings with no elevators, so keep that in mind. Since this is a prime location of the city, expect to pay high prices for accommodations. It's hard to find a T2 under 1,000 euros. If you're looking for something large, renovated, maybe with an outdoor space, you can spend upwards of 3,000 to 5,000.
If you're looking to buy, it's not uncommon to see very small apartments for sale here. Space is definitely limited. There are apartments between 20 and 50 square meters. If it's older and needs to be renovated, you might be able to find something for around 150,000 euros, but even these small apartments, like around 50 square meters, that are newly renovated are going for 350,000 euros and more.
So imagine what you would pay for a turnkey apartment around 100 square meters that has recently been renovated and is located in this neighborhood. The sky is the limit, so get your financing in order.
You'll also want to budget a bit higher on your food out bill because you won't be able to resist the plethora of food and drink options right on your back door.
There are clinics and pharmacies in this neighborhood, but there's not a big hospital. However, it's not too far from a couple hospital options. Small and medium-sized grocery stores are around this district as well. Schooling options for kids aren't great here as there are no international schools in this area.
For those of you who frequent museums, you have the National Museum of Science and Natural History along with Amalia Rodriguez House Museum. And to confuse you even more about the neighborhood, you also have antique shops.
The gyms are a little hard to find around here. There aren't any international schools in this neighborhood, but Universidade Aberta is a public university located here, so maybe that's a draw for the younger crowd.
So bars and antiques, cafes and playgrounds, museums and malls. It seems like this district has a little bit of everything for everyone. But is it too busy? Are there too many tourists here? Is it too expensive? Josh and I are going to give our take.
Let's talk about it. All right, Kalie, so what did you think?
This is a tough one because there are a lot of things that are packed into this area, which is nice, but it's so central and so touristy. So that was a bit of a turnoff for me. What did you think?
I felt fancy. I definitely felt fancy in the neighborhood. There are certain pockets of the neighborhood. The neighborhood's not big, but there are certain pockets that are definitely quieter and you really don't see a whole lot of tourism because it's just residential. So that was nice. I mean, I think living in an area like that would be really great.
But some of those roads are like super inclined and hilly and stuff. Those, right?
Sure, yeah, sure. That might be the downside to the neighborhood is it is kind of hilly. It's not necessarily the most well done in terms of the sidewalks, although they're not bad. Again, in that area, like I was saying, if you're on a street where it's not, you know, straight on an incline and you have a wide sidewalk, it's okay. The metro station, Khatu, being located where it is kind of on the fringes. So it's not great if you live more internally. But I guess you do have Avenida that could help you out.
True, but that is also kind of on the border as well.
Yep.
And I would say there aren't as many wide sidewalks here compared to some of the other neighborhoods. So it's a little of the older feeling. I mean, it makes sense because it's so central, which is nice. It is central, but you do have more narrow, uneven sidewalks, a bit more hills here. So keep that in mind as well. I do really like the gardens there. I mean, it's pretty, it's shaded. You have people with dogs. You've got little cafes that you can go to. There's a big playground. So that's a good draw for any age, really.
Yeah, I would say certainly people with young families. If you don't have your kids in school yet, it could be an amazing spot because you have these outdoor spaces that you can visit really easily. You don't have to worry about the commute to the international schools or schools in general.
That's true. And so you'll hear a mix of languages as well, so that's nice too. I will have to say that I had the most amazing brownie from a shop in this area. It was gooey, which I love. It was kind of, you had to scrape it off of the paper, but that was really good. So I do think that their food and beverage scene in this area is spot on.
Yeah, I feel like if we lived there, we would be spending way more money than we should. So I wouldn't be super keen to live there. Let's go ahead and give our ratings.
Okay.
Out of 5, so 1 being the lowest, you wouldn't want to live there at all. 5 being it's amazing, you would definitely want to live there. Where do you fall?
I'm giving this area a 2.
What?
And there's a lot of reasons for me because it's really central. It's a lot of foot traffic.
Wait. All of our friends, our creator friends, had this as the top neighborhood, and you're giving it a 2.
I am giving it a 2 because I would not want to live there.
Way to stand out.
The stage of life that I'm in, I wouldn't want to live there. If you maybe have trouble walking, mobility issues, so like we have the stroller, it's not super easy. There are a lot of people here. The buildings tend to be a bit older. There are some that do have elevators, but honestly, this part of Lisbon is one of my least favorites. So although this neighborhood is trendy and it has some good things going on, I would not want to live here. I'll go there to visit, but I would not want to live here, which is why I'm giving it a 2 for living.
That's terrible. That is terrible.
So Josh and I are going to be living in different spots in Lisbon, apparently.
I guess so.
What
No,
are
I
you gonna give it?
think we're going to fall in line with some of the other neighborhoods, but this one we definitely differ on. I'm giving it a 4.
A 4?
Yeah, a 4.
That's way too high.
No. So for me, the reason why I take 1 off of it is because of the cost. I think
That's the only reason?
I mean, look, if we're talking about how expensive it is, it's one thing. But you brought up tourism a lot.
Yeah.
And you were saying that there are a lot of tourists. Well, that's just what you get when you live in a cosmopolitan city in the city center. But it's not as bad or not as touristy as Chiado, Bairro Alto, maybe Alfama.
Sure, but it's worse than Avenidas Novas, Parque das Nações, other neighborhoods.
I don't disagree with you. It's super centrally located though, so that's really nice. The food and beverage scene there or around there is really nice.
So I gave it a 2. Not a 1.
All right, so we clearly disagree, but if you guys want to see other episodes of things that we agree with more about the neighborhoods here in Lisbon, click this playlist right here. Now, let's get moving. Bye.
Bye.